All right, we're going to welcome to the show Georgia Congressman Rich McCormack, who sits on the House Armed Forces and Foreign Affairs Committees. Congressman McCormack, great to see you today.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
All right, we're going to roll some tape from President Joe Biden, former President Biden, just a couple of days ago, speaking to reporters. Here he is defending his time in office.
No, I don't regret this. Look, I'm very proud. I've put my record as president against any president at all.
He says no regrets, and he's proud of his record. What do you make of his comments as lawmakers are set to begin their investigation?
You know, I don't like to speak ill of somebody who's been through what he's been. He's going through significant dementia. But we saw that even before he was in office, during his campaign. He would misinterpret emotions. He would misinterpret friendly gestures. That's what people do when they get elderly and they start to lose that cognitive ability. I'm an ER doc by trade, and you can see it distinctly in this guy in the last 10 years. He is a different human being. He thinks differently. And you can see he has his good days and his bad days, just like anybody who's ever had a grandparent or a parent that's been in a senior living home. You can see those days happen. You can see it live with this guy who just doesn't have the capabilities he used to have. The question is, who is making decisions, and how often was he not consulted about the most important job in the world, as the most important person, the most powerful person in the world?
Well, and some of what you're saying, you know, that's sort of ammunition from the Democrats, you know, what they're saying. And let's just turn the page on this, especially given what his health status is right now. Now, they wouldn't point to the dementia. They would point more to the cancer. But how can Republicans walk this fine line? Because it is sensitive. I mean, he's the former commander-in-chief of the greatest nation on earth.
Well, I think when it comes to the cancer, you're right. It's a separate issue. And I totally admit that we're talking about something independent of his mental decline. But quite frankly, they ran a guy not only who was in mental decline, and everybody could see it, and they basically withdrew him because he knew they could win with him. But they also ran a guy that they most likely knew they had stage 4, at least, cancer at the time. He certainly was symptomatic. He certainly was a high-risk capability. The fact that they catch this right after he's no longer can be the president, it's highly suspicious. And I think that's what the fiasco was all about. You knew you were going to have somebody come into the presidency that both physically and mentally could not be president. It was a setup from the get-go, and that's what people were kind of concerned, that there was a cover-up. But I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to, because quite frankly, even if he was in perfect physical condition, perfect mental condition, he still had bad policies, in my opinion. So I really am ready to move on and turn the page and get on with better politics.
All right. Well, Doge is moving on. Elon Musk is at least moving on from Doge. He's leaving his government role there in the Trump administration. Of course, the tech billionaire was tasked to overhaul federal agencies and find waste, fraud, and abuse, and this was all through Doge. But they claim that they have saved $175 billion in federal spending. These numbers are coming to us from them, so that's about $1,000 per taxpayer. These savings, though, are far less than the initial goal, they said, of $2 trillion. That's what they were aiming for. And then the other criticism, too, taking a chainsaw instead of a scalpel, and the lack of transparency, inflating some of their claims as well. So these numbers are coming to us from them. So we're just having to trust these at the moment. But what does the future of Doge look like?
Well, remember, Clinton had digital services, very similar to Doge, just called something different. Every president has at their fingertips and their disposal the ability to review bad spending policies and get rid of them. It's kind of like it's a line item control of a bureaucracy when bureaucracies misbehave. We saw a lot of things that people would have been very offended of. And you're right, it's not enough. We as Congress members have to be responsible enough to get rid of provisions that are spending way too much. We're still at COVID level spendings, despite being well past that crisis point. Quite frankly, both parties are responsible for this. In 2008, when we had the housing crisis, and again, just a couple of years ago when we had the COVID crisis, we never came back to regular spending levels. We got addicted to government spending, and people bought votes with it, quite frankly, made a lot of rich allies because of it. I have nothing against what Elon did. I thought it was great. I love what the Doge did. It was very similar to what other presidents have done, maybe a little bit more. But we have much work to do. We cannot say that Congress is not responsible for those cuts into the future. Right now, we have $416 billion more spending next year than we had this year, and we called it a win. I find that problematic. I think the Senate can do some really good things to send that bill back to us better, and we can help the Americans become more responsible with us for future generations in the budget process.
Look, Elon Musk and Doge dominated the headlines during Trump's first 100 days, without a doubt. So who do you think is going to lead Doge next?
That's a good question. Now that he's gone, we have some really good people. People who we haven't even really reviewed the military. One of the biggest spending items in government, over 15% of the government's budget is spent on the military. And we know that, for example, I was just with Army Futures.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.